Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to listen up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Thank you, KK, for the intro. Phil and Ryan back on Listen Up as the UConn Huskies play basketball once again tomorrow at 2 p.m. As they begin a two-game road trip, this time making a stop at the UBS Arena in Elmont, New York.
And, that's right. And I know you're going to lead off. I promise I won't say anything. I'll just remind them a late recap tomorrow.
Yeah, we won't be on until later after that game, not until later Saturday night. But remember to like, subscribe, comment away. As always, we do appreciate it. But let's get into the last check-in before this game on Saturday. St. John's Red Storm just have an overall record of 10-7. Didn't really have the best start of the year, but they have just suffered one loss so far throughout Big East play, standing at second currently in the Big East. For Jillian Archer is averaging 20 points per game, leading the team. Or I'm sorry, that's Unique Drake leading the team with 20 points per game. The graduate student for Jillian Archer is also in her fifth season, previously playing at USC and Georgetown, but she has found a home here at St. John's these past two seasons, and this year is just averaging below a double-double for the team. So she is also having a very good season for St. John's. Rounding out their starting five is actually three transfer students: Phoenix Jedion, Tara Day, and Bernaya Mayo rounds out their starting five. So, I wish I could stop repeating myself for these last check-ins, but again, I just don't really feel like this game is going to be too awful close. I just think it's kind of going to be another easy win for UConn. I don't really see. I would like to see less fouls from UConn in this game, but other than that, I just don't really see anything that UConn's doing wrong. That they're just playing flawless basketball. It almost just seems like every single game of this winning streak about as close to perfect as you can get in terms of how they're playing right now. Hopefully, they keep the continuous pressure, relentless pressure on defense going, and just continue to ride the hot hands. It seems to be the recipe for success here lately for the Huskies.
Yeah, I see they play some full court pressure at times, Ryan, but I obviously we're not going to forget predictions this time around, huh? Yeah, one thing that one thing it's hard for me to get out of my mind now. I know everybody will be like, well, stop talking about it, Phil. I'm sure you remember this UConn women's basketball upset by St. John's. It was February of 23. You remember that, Ryan?
Yeah, yeah,
And
I do remember that.
I was down at College Park that night and I saw people, in front of me watching that game. They're at a Maryland Terps game, but you always have to keep your eyes on the Huskies, right? And they're watching the game on their phone and they're like turning around. You're like, oh, Ryan, I think an upset is coming. Oh, hey, Dylan, I think an upset is coming. So, man, I mean, when I think about St. John's, all of a sudden, bang, I think about that upset. But yeah, I'm going to try to forget about it. But hey, yeah, I'm like you. This is a kind of a different St. John's team, if you will. So I think, and a different UConn women's basketball team, although they're dealing with them injuries again, once again, Ryan. How about you wanted to comment on Ice Brady, her stepping up for the Huskies? I said it during the game recap last Sunday, and here we are 4 hours ago. Credit CT Insider. Ryan, it says UConn women's basketball's Ice Brady stepping up for Huskies.
Yeah, and she really has, and it's kind of just been every single game for her in terms of Ice Brady, just continuing to get better, and really UConn just needs her to continue to keep doing that throughout the whole season. As we keep saying, with the injuries, the minutes are going to continue to be there for her, and I think it's also worthy to note that in this Betancourt, Amari DeBerry have just about played it in every single game so far. I think one of them has 13, one of them has 15. I was looking at the stats earlier in terms of games played. So they're definitely getting their chances too with all these injuries. And of course, I guess that does have a little bit to do with the scores here recently with UConn pulling away from a lot of these teams that they're playing. But still, with Ines and Amari, continuing to get minutes, having experience. And they're really not playing that bad when they came in, especially against this last game here that they just won. Pretty much played a lot of the fourth quarter, almost the entire fourth quarter. So for them to get minutes in case they need them here down the stretch is also worth noting too. And they're really not playing too awful badly either.
So St. John's currently, Ryan, you told me on a 3-game winning streak. They beat very impressive 1-point victory over Marquette, right? A ranked team currently number 23. So they beat Marquette, they beat Providence, and then they go on to beat Xavier, a rout of Xavier. So obviously tomorrow at 2 o'clock, their next game against UConn. And Ryan, yeah, it's interesting because sometimes, I mean, this St. John's team again, very good, but I'm like you. I think that UConn, but we'll give the prediction at the end. How about let's go over to comments and let's go with Michael says, watch the game. It reminded me of a bunch of bees. If you didn't watch closely, you could swear UConn had 7 on the floor. In November, we watched slow, lethargic players who didn't go to the basket. Kudos to the whole staff and especially Gino for lighting that fire. I think the girls found their heart for the game again.
Yeah, I think they did too, and it's really been evident during this winning streak after they came home, started playing a lot better, went on the win streak, and just continue to keep carrying the momentum into every single game. And you can really tell by watching them. For the first game of the season, of course, they won. Played a couple tough teams, started to go downhill with a couple of these injuries. Really wasn't looking too good at one point in the season after they lost to Texas and UCLA. But they did go on this win streak, and like I just said, the momentum, all of those factor. It really does factor in. I strongly do believe in momentum, and really the whole team does look a lot more energized. Just playing throughout these games, beginning to start playing a lot quicker, getting out to leads more often, and the more important thing is being able to sustain those leads throughout the whole entire game, and pulling away from a lot of these opponents pretty early in the game.
Bet Jason D'Amico watching Paige hurdle chairs into the stands and then give a fan a high five made my night. Laugh out loud. Good show, fellas. Peace.
Yeah, I did
She
see
does it
that.
all, Ryan. Even when
While,
she's not, even when she's not on the court, she does it all.
Yeah, and I think the Yukon commentator said something about it. The Yukon track team needs a high jumper. Paige Beckers could go out for the tryout, but yeah, always putting on a show for the Yukon Husky fans. But I think that kind of just goes into the energy that Yukon's playing with. It just seems like they're having more fun playing basketball right now, and I think that goes into the confidence level for everybody. It can just you can just see it on their faces while they're playing, their body expressions as well, how much better they're really playing and how much confident each player is in themselves.
This means a lot. This person goes, you two do a terrific job. I wait for your podcast after each game. I think Yukon Nation is lucky to have you as analysts. The Yukon women are truly amazing. They are a great example of the importance of teamwork. Yeah, well, that's second part of the comment. I do agree with that, Ryan, but I don't know. I don't know if they're lucky to have. They're lucky to have me. I know they're lucky to have you.
No, well, we're lucky to have a very a very unique Yukon Husky fan base, a very faithful Yukon Husky fan base that watches our videos and shows
Yeah.
us supports for 3 years now. So very grateful for that. But yeah, Yukon definitely the basketball capital of the world, and we're grateful to be covering this women's team for the past 3 years now.
How about Elise Defon? Hopefully, I'm saying that name right. Hopefully that we can get her on the show soon. Ryan, she goes, "Hey Phil and Ryan, I have been a long time listener to your fabulous commentary on your YouTube channel. I am from the Providence, Rhode Island area. Ryan, hello from the area. I've been a lifelong Yukon women's Huskies basketball fan since around 1995. Yes, I'm old. Laugh out loud. This has been a challenging season to say the least. I think Gino was on to something when he said none of these ACL injuries and such were that common before COVID hit us in 2020. I have a tendency to believe part of that is true because long time cover does not quit after a week. Many people have what they call long-term COVID. It affects the muscles. I know I have that myself, as I'm not as mobile as I used to be before COVID. Okay, so she gets into the virus part of it. So yeah, I mean, just during that time of the year, Ryan, a lot of not only athletes but everyone a trying time. And then she goes on to say, "Please continue to do a great job as many people count on you for the best coverage for the Lady Huskies so long."
Yeah, it's a good point, and I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of things that could go into it. It's impossible to try to figure out what's causing all these injuries. You could throw out, hundreds of different arguments and sides to kind of latch onto, and you can believe whatever and think whatever, but we'll just never know for sure. But or possibly there's not really anything that causes it. It's just really bad luck. And it's so unfortunate for these women. That practice all summer. We started the season with 14, of course, and now we're just down to 9, including Caroline Ducharme, who is not out for the season, who hasn't played in quite a long time. So, my take is just really bad luck the past 3 seasons. Freak accidents that are just seem unavoidable now for UConn, but hopefully at some point in the near future we'll start to get strings of good luck, and hopefully we can see all 14 or however many available Huskies that are on the team be able to play in almost every single game.
Yeah, and she goes on to say she hears a lot of negative things about how far the team can go. They're probably going to be eliminated around the Sweet 16 time period. But just saw an article, Ryan, and it's always good to debate. One side, and then the other side very positive. We like to stay positive, right? But I saw one article earlier today or yesterday maybe, and it said reasons why the Huskies could be in the Final Four. And boy, wouldn't that make you smile after all these injuries yet again? All right. Predictions, Ryan. I'm going 89 to 60. We'll go 89-65. UConn all over St. John's.
Yeah, and speaking about March Madness, I saw today I think they're the 3 seed in the bracketology thing that they do, projected 3 seeds so far. So, but for this game, I'm expecting another blowout. Like I said, I just don't think St. John's has enough offense to keep it close. I'm gonna go UConn 90, St. John's 56.
St. John's trailing, Ryan. They're the team that's right behind UConn as far as the Big East standings go. So can St. John's hand UConn their first in conference loss? We'll see tomorrow, Ryan. Phil and Rye on Listen Up.